Hi, everybody. Good afternoon and greetings from the UK and the University of Portsmouth. But depending on where you are in the world, it could be the afternoon, evening, a bit later on in the day, or it could be early morning for you. Either way, welcome to this pre-departure briefing for students like yourselves who are looking to start at Portsmouth this coming September. So we'll just hang on a minute or so to welcome any visitors, any other students that are coming into this call, into this video today, into this presentation today, and then we'll make a start in about 1 minute. This session is being recorded, so it will be sent to you hopefully tomorrow or Thursday, but as soon as we can get things sorted technology-wise behind the scenes, we'll get this emailed out to you as soon as possible. So any friends or parents that might want to watch it, they can obviously look back, or any notes that you want to take, you can look back on the recording that we send you as well. I'm just keeping an eye on the time. Okay, I can see some people still coming through. I can see the numbers rising for this webinar, this live webinar this afternoon. Welcome if you're just joining us. We're just going to hang on. It's great to see so many of you coming through. So we're just going to hang on and then we'll make a start shortly. Okay, it's 2 minutes, 2 minutes into this call now, so let's make a start. Hello and welcome to this pre-departure briefing. This is for students like yourselves who have made an excellent decision in coming to the University of Portsmouth, and we're very much looking forward to welcoming you in a few weeks' time, so not long to go. So this pre-departure briefing is going to give you lots of key information, really important information to help you get ready for when you leave your homes and your countries to come to the UK and specifically Portsmouth. But before we get started into that, let's do some introductions. So my name is Ruth Walton. I'm one of the senior global officers here at the university, and my regions that I manage to recruit students like yourselves are Central Asia and also the Americas and also Europe as well. And I'm now going to pass you on to my colleague, Anna.
Hi everyone, it's nice to see you all here. My name is Anna. I'm a Senior International Student Advisor and I'm based in UOP Global at the University of Portsmouth. I provide support with visas and immigration and also the orientation programme, which we'll talk about in a moment, and other social and cultural events on campus. So it's really lovely to see so many of you here today.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Anna does an awful lot, in terms of welcoming you all to the university as well. So hopefully you'll get to see both of us on campus when you come in September. We are looking to welcome Melissa Hernandez. She's one of our international students, originally from the Dominican Republic. She's having 1 or 2 technical issues, so hopefully we'll see her pop up shortly and join us. So a chance for you to ask any questions. But if you do have any questions for any of us today about anything we have said, or something that you just want to know that we haven't covered perhaps, then please do type your questions into the Q&A, the question and answers section of this Zoom call, and then we'll look to answer those at the very end. So let's make a start. Okay, so welcome to Portsmouth. Now, hopefully you've done some good research as to where we are, but just to give you a bit of an overview and an introduction. So the University of Portsmouth and the city of Portsmouth is approximately 70 miles from London. So to give you some context, if you were going on the train journey from Portsmouth and Southsea takes you from the city into London Waterloo, and that can take anything from 1 hour and a half or maybe 2 hours, depending on which train you get. So a nice, easy distance. And we'll give you some details shortly on how to find your way from London Heathrow or London Gatwick. When you arrive in the country, we'll go through that a bit later on to give you some help about how to arrive to Portsmouth. But as you can see on this picture, it's a really fantastic picture actually, because it gives a really good insight into kind of where you are in the city, because we are a city centre campus. The university isn't separate to the city of Portsmouth, so it's very much in the city centre. So where you're going to be staying in the student accommodation, which we call here halls of residence. So the halls of residence are walking distance to where you're going to be studying in your lecture theatres and seminar rooms and classrooms. But also you're close to the train station. You're close to the supermarkets, the nightlife, the restaurants, the bars, the cinemas, the shopping. But also, as you can see on this map, lots of green open space. So that area you can see is called Southsea Common. And you're also, of course, close to the beach. Now, this is a pebble, like a stone beach, but it's still pretty great. I love living here. I love living in Portsmouth, and being so close to the coast and the ocean is really fantastic, especially this time of year. But even when it's cold and wet, you know, put on a good coat and find your way walking along the south coast, along the seafront there. But when the weather is nicer, it's great for picnics and barbecues on the beach or on Southsea Common there. A great way to socialise, play some ultimate frisbee, kick a football about, whatever you want to do, or just relax and sunbathe, or read a book, or listen to some music. So we are a city centre campus, but you have the best of two worlds because you have such a green open space and the ocean right on your doorstep. But being on the south coast, we have great transport links to the rest of the UK, not just London, of course, but to the rest of the UK and Europe as well. So Birmingham is about 3 hours north of Portsmouth. Keep going a bit further north, you've got Manchester, which is another hour on top of that. Liverpool, similar 4-hour journey. Keep going further north to the Lake District, a very beautiful countryside part of the UK. On the train, about 8 hours. If driving, maybe 6-7 hours, depending on where you go in the Lake District. So great transport links around the UK. And I've mentioned about our seafront location on the south coast, and the other cities that are close by as well are also good for visiting on the south coast. So these are some statistics that we're always very proud to share, and we know all universities have these, but we like to think that ours are the best, of course. So you can see our achievements. We're a very proud university. We're excited to welcome you onto our campus this September and to start studying with us. You know, we are excited, we're very proud, and we are looking forward to show off our achievements to you. You know, with 94% of our graduates finding work once they have finished their studies, either after undergraduate, your bachelor qualification, or from your postgraduate, your master's qualification. So some really good opportunities with progressing with your career as well. But also, you know, we're one of the top 10 young universities in the UK, and the top 50, one of the top 50 universities in the Complete University Guide, to name but a few on this screen. So you're coming to a good, strong university. So some key dates to remember, again, which we're going to go in a bit more detail throughout this presentation, but just some key dates for you to know. So you might want to write these down now or watch this back and make note of these important dates. So we are offering an airport pickup service from London Heathrow. This is the second point here in this table. So the airport pickup is from London Heathrow Airport only, and that is on Saturday the 9th and Sunday the 10th of September. But the deadline to book your place on our coach, on our bus, is the 6th of September. So you have plenty of time still to book your place on that coach, which is a much more straightforward, direct pickup service from the airport to bring you straight to the university and straight to the university accommodation of where you're going to be staying. The halls of residence, so the student accommodation, is only available from the earliest from Saturday the 9th of September. Now, if you're looking to come to Portsmouth a bit earlier than the 9th, that is possible as long as you have your student visa arranged, of course, you've got that through. That is possible, but you won't be able to move into your student accommodation until Saturday the 9th. So an example I have for you, a student that I look after from the US, actually, he's from the USA. He is a basketball scholarship student, and he is looking, his training for basketball starts early in September. So he has had to arrange his own private Airbnb service to stay in that accommodation until his halls of residence, his university accommodation, is ready from the Saturday the 9th. You can obviously move in after that weekend. You don't have to move in on the 9th and 10th of September, but the 9th and 10th are the only days that we're going to be at Heathrow to pick you up if you would like us to. Other key dates to remember are the International Orientation Week, weeks. I think that goes on for about 2 weeks, which will go into more detail. It's a very fun, engaging week, a chance for you to socialize and make new friends. So that's why we share this important date with you. So that's from the 11th of September. And then induction week for your course. Another key date for you is also from the 11th of September. So talking about your application and visa, I'm going to pass you over to Anna to go into that detail now.
Thanks, Ruth. So yeah, I'm going to talk to you about first of all, the next steps that you need to take to make sure that you are prepared and ready to receive your CAS statement, which is the document that you need to apply for your visa. So if you haven't done so already, and I hope you have because you're on this webinar, so you must be aware that you have an offer for the university, but if you haven't done so, please do log into your applicant view and accept your offer from there. If you hold a conditional offer with the university, it will be asking you to upload whatever required documents you need to as part of that offer. So please ensure that you upload those as well. What you need to get to is the stage of being unconditional, where you've met all the conditions of your offer. Once you're at that stage, then your CAS statement can be issued to you. So please do make sure, if you're not sure, that you've provided everything that you need to, that the university has asked for, and that you've accepted whatever offer we give you. If you upload documents that have been asked for, and then what will happen is the university will send you your unconditional offer once you've met all your conditions. And likewise, you need to go back into your applicant view and accept the unconditional offer. You need to make sure that you've completed the eligibility questionnaire. The link is there on the screen, but this has also been sent to you in your offer letter email. So if you're not sure, please do go back and the link will be available in your offer letter email. You may have to pay a deposit or provide evidence that you are financially sponsored. Once you have provided all of these things, then the university is able to issue a CAS statement to you, which, like I said, is the document that you need to apply for your visa. So once you've got your CAS statement, so we've got to the point where you have an unconditional offer, which you've accepted, and your CAS has been sent out to you. So you've received your CAS statement. So what we ask you to do is, once you get your CAS statement, which you receive in your email, is to check it. Just check the details in the CAS statement. Check that your name is spelled correctly. Check that your passport number is correct. Check that your course is correct. Is it for the correct duration? Check that all the details on your CAS are correct. And if there's any errors or any problems, you can email the CAS team, and that information again will be in the email with your CAS to get that information corrected or updated. I'm going to talk in this a little in more detail in the next couple of slides, but at the moment you need to start thinking about preparing evidence of your finances. So every applicant will need to provide or have evidence that they meet the financial requirements for the visa application. And this is showing that they have access to living costs and tuition fees. And this is holding a certain amount of funds in the bank account for 28 days, or being a sponsored student. And again, like I said, I'll go into more detail about that in the next couple of slides. What you also need to be aware of is any documents that you need to submit with your visa application that are not already in English must be accompanied by official translations. So for example, if you're required to provide education certificates and they are not in English, you'll need to have them officially translated and submit both the original and the translated copy. You may require an ATAS as well. At this point, you should know if you need an ATAS. If you did need an ATAS certificate for your course, this would have formed part of the offer that the university gave you to study. But you will need this ATAS certificate and the ATAS number on the certificate during the visa application process. You may also need a TB test certificate. There are many countries outside of Europe that the UK requires a TB test certificate for. If you're not sure if you're one of those countries, there is a tool on the .gov.uk website where you can check if you do need a TB test certificate. And then obviously you need to be prepared for what you're going to be paying for the visa application. So you pay the visa application fee itself. And then in addition to that, you pay the immigration health surcharge. Now, the immigration health surcharge is what gives you access to free healthcare once you get to the UK. You're able to access the National Health Service, or the NHS as we call it, free of charge, as long as you pay that immigration health surcharge. And that's a mandatory part of the visa application process. Once you've submitted your visa application, you will be invited, or you will likely be invited to a credibility interview where you will meet with a caseworker who's reviewing your application, and they will assess your credibility to study in the UK. And what they'll be looking at is whether you are a genuine student with genuine intentions of studying. So they may ask you questions about why you've chosen the course, what you know about Portsmouth and the area that you're coming to, and why you've chosen to study in the UK. So you need to be prepared to answer some of those questions. So I'm going to talk in more detail about bank statements now, and the reason for that is because what we see students being refused on the most is that they haven't prepared the funds correctly. So their bank statements, financial documents are not in as required by the Home Office for the visa application. So first of all, I'm going to talk through what you need to show in terms of evidence. So you need to show 1 year's worth of tuition fees. So if you're on an undergraduate course, it'll just be for the first year. If you're on a master's course, it'll be for the whole year, that 1 year of study. Anything that you've already paid to the university as a deposit towards your tuition fees. So you may have paid £3,500, you may have paid a 50%, the £3,500, sorry. You may have paid 50% of your tuition fees. Whatever is remaining outstanding is what you need to evidence, in addition to the maintenance amount. And the maintenance amount is set by the Home Office, and it's a minimum of £9,207. So you add the maintenance amount, 9,207, you add that to your outstanding tuition fees, so your unpaid tuition fees, and that total amount that you come to is then the minimum amount that you need to show in your bank account. The funds need to be held in the account for 28 consecutive days, so every day for 28 days, and the account can only be in your name or a parent's name. The funds can also not be held in bonds, shares, or property. They need to be instantly accessible money. If you are showing bank statements that belong to your parents, in addition to the bank statement, you also need a letter from your parents confirming that they are financially supporting you, as well as your birth certificate. And like I said before, if any of these documents are not in English, you'll need to have them officially translated, and the original document will need to be accompanied by an official translation. What's really critical as well is that the total amount of money that I talked about before, so the £9,207 plus the remaining tuition fees, must be held in the bank account every day for at least 28 days. So it could be obviously more than 28 days, that's absolutely fine, but it can't be anything less than 28 days. So we have seen refusals, or we see every year, actually, unfortunately, we see refusals for money that hasn't been held in the account for long enough. So even if it's been in there for 27 days, the Home Office will still refuse an application because the minimum requirement is 28 days. The bank statement itself also cannot be older than 1 month. So say, for example, you submit your visa application today, which is the 25th of July. The bank statement cannot be older than 1 month from the day that you submit your visa application. So that statement couldn't be any older than being dated from the 25th of June. It's really important that the funds are held in a personal account, so it can't be in a business account. So if yourself or your parents own and run a business and there is a bank account attached or associated with that business, you cannot use that for the purposes of demonstrating the funds for your visa application. It must be a personal account. Obviously, it's very likely when you're applying from overseas that the bank account you're using is not going to be in British pounds. It may be in your local currency or it may be in US dollars. So you'll need to find out what the conversion rate for that is. And we recommend that you use Oanda, which is a currency conversion tool. And this is the same currency conversion tool that the Home Office use. So we recommend you use the same one so that you get the same outcome. Sometimes different currency converter tools can give you slightly different conversions of currency. So to be as accurate as possible, we suggest using Oanda. If you're a sponsored student, and when we say sponsored, we mean that you are in receipt of official financial sponsorship. And that means that you are sponsored by a university body, a national government, or an international company. And that there is a specific definition of international company that the Home Office has. So if you do fall into this category, if you are officially sponsored, you'll need a sponsor letter from your sponsor confirming your sponsorship and what you're being sponsored for. Now, some sponsors, they may cover everything. They may be covering you for your tuition fees and your maintenance, in which case you would just need one sponsor letter that confirms that they are sponsoring you for everything. There are some places that will only sponsor you for your tuition fees. And if your sponsor is only sponsoring you for your tuition fees, in addition to your sponsor letter, you would need to show a bank statement, which demonstrates that you have the maintenance amount of funds, which, like I said before, was a minimum amount of £9,207. That bank statement would also have to meet all the other requirements, as I just discussed. So funds, this can be a little bit of a tricky one to get your head around sometimes. The Home Office sometimes reach out to banks to ask them to verify that the documents that you've provided are genuine. And if they're not able to do that, if the Home Office reach out to the bank and the bank don't respond, the Home Office can refuse the application. So what we suggest is if you are generating a bank statement, you let your bank know that the Home Office may be contacting them to verify that it's a genuine document. And if the Home Office do contact them, ask them to respond, as otherwise you may end up getting a refusal on your visa, and obviously we don't want that. So it's always good just to let your bank know that you are making a visa application to the UK, and the UK government essentially may be in touch to just check the validity of that document.
Okay, well, thank you, Anna. That's a lot of information, isn't it? So we hope that you've had a chance to absorb that and take that in, but don't worry if you haven't. We're going to share a contact email at the end of this presentation, so you can contact us if you have any questions. But just to repeat what I said at the start, if you have any questions today, then please do start typing those into the Q&A section of the Zoom call. And behind the scenes, we'll be answering those questions as we go through, or we'll address them at the very end. So the next section is traveling to the UK, and right on cue, Melissa has managed to join us. Melissa, would you like to just say hello and introduce yourself, please, and what course you're studying at the moment? You're on mute, Melissa, if you could take yourself off.
Okay, sorry. Okay. Hello, everyone. Sorry, apologies for my late appearance. My name is Melissa. I'm from the Dominican Republic, and I'm currently doing a master's in medical biotechnology. Nice to meet you.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you. Microbiotechnology. Goodness me. Right. Okay, so some key things to share with you here, everybody. As you can see on this screen, there are various sections here that we're going to go through. So first things first are looking to arrange your accommodation. Like now I mentioned earlier how we call them halls of residence. And that is basically your flat, your apartment of where you're going to be living. And we have several around the city and around our campus. So like I said earlier, where you're going to be living isn't far away from where you're going to be studying and socializing. But you should have received, or you certainly will receive very soon, an email from the accommodation team telling them what kind of accommodation you would like. So please do take some time to look at our website. You can see pictures, descriptions, video footage sometimes of the student accommodation. And you'll be also available to look on a map to see where that student accommodation is compared to where you think you might like to be on campus and within the city. So always keep an eye on your emails, your inbox, but also keep an eye on your spam folders, because that's where your spam or your junk, sometimes emails from the university go into your spam folder. So once you have your visa confirmed, like Anna was just describing, once you have your visa confirmed, you will be able to book your flights. There's no point in booking your flight yet. We appreciate that it's tempting because the prices might be a bit cheaper now before the last minute, almost, really, maybe when you get your visa. But something could go wrong. We hope it won't, but something could go wrong with your visa and you might not receive it. And then you might not be able to get a refund on your visa. Then you need to think about booking your transport to Portsmouth, and I'll go through this in a few slides' time. And then you need to start thinking about packing smart, thinking about what you want to bring with you to the UK, checking your luggage allowance on the airline that you think you're going to fly with, because you don't want to be charged extra if your bag is too heavy. Melissa, can you join us? Can you come onto your microphone, please, and tell us, when you came to the UK last September, how did you plan your packing, and did you bring anything that you wish you hadn't brought, that you've never used?
Yes, hello. So for packing, I come from a tropical country, so I was aware that there will be cold weather around, especially coming in September. So October is around the corner. So yeah, I just try to pack a lot of gloves and winter clothes, because yeah, you will need them probably up to March. So that's my advice for packing and everything. Yeah, just to keep
Okay.
in mind to just pack enough clothes for the change of seasons. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. But with that in mind, Melissa, like, because winter clothes are quite big and solid, like jumpers and coats and things.
Yeah.
Have you brought anything like that when you came to the UK? How did you find shopping and the cost of shopping when you got to the UK?
So I didn't bring like too many, I didn't have too many winter clothes. So I will advise to prepare at least one luggage for cold weather. That will be enough. I think at least it will be really good for you if, or in the time that you're trying to settling down, because you're gonna be knowing around the city, like you're gonna get to know Portsmouth like in the first couple of weeks. So I will advise to just pack one luggage for cool weather, winter weather, and then the other one just for summer weather, which shouldn't be too much because you will be probably be around 1 year or more than 1 year. So by that time you will know about the places where you can get clothes from. And yeah, and also I didn't bring too many toilettes. I think it's very easy to find them around the campus because there are many shops around. So that's my advice. Yeah, for coming to Portsmouth.
Yeah, because toiletries like your wash
Yeah.
bag and things like that, they can be quite heavy, can't they? And there might be
Yes,
something more important that you want to replace.
ex
Is there anything that you
exactly.
bought to help you remind you of home? Maybe something that's sentimental that you were pleased that you brought with you?
Oh yes, I brought my Dominican flag, the flag for my
Ah,
country. That's something that I always carry with me. So yeah, that's one
good for
thing from
you.
home that I always carry. Yeah.
Do you use it as your curtain in your room?
No, I just hang it around my bed. Yeah, but
Okay.
this time, I mean, nowadays moving out and moving in, I have it in my luggage, but I always keep it with me. Yeah.
That's really nice. Okay, good
Mm.
stuff. Okay, thank you, Melissa, for that. And the other point on this preparing to travel to the UK, please don't bring any food or plants with you. There's plenty of places to buy food when you get here, and plenty of international supermarkets, actually. There's, gosh, I can't think of any examples. Anna, Melissa, can you help me? Any international food shopping supermarkets, markets?
Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
loads actually. I mean, I think in Southsea in particular, we've got quite a 3 or 4 sort of Chinese supermarkets, 2 Asian supermarkets, 2 Mediterranean, Middle Eastern supermarkets, and 2 or 3 sort of African supermarkets. So yeah, there's a lot Polish supermarkets, Bulgarian
Wow,
supermarkets.
spoiled for choice.
Yeah.
Okay, Anna, thank you. That's great. But of course, as always, check our website for more information. You know, keep an eye on some tips and things to know about, things to share. On the other side of your screen here, you can see some useful contact information for you. So that email address of global@port.ac.uk and the telephone number for us as well. This is really quite useful because when you do arrive, if you don't meet us at the airport or meet my colleagues at the airport, then you could be have a bit of a problem or an issue at the start of your academic year or throughout. And this number and email is quite important just to have as an emergency point of contact. Okay, so these 2 points are really important. So when you're arriving into the UK, assuming you're going to arrive into one of the London there's about 4 London airports, but 2 main ones, the 2 key airports is London Gatwick and London Heathrow. There's also London City and London Stansted, but coming from, outside of the EU, where you guys are, potential, you as students are, the main airports really are going to be Heathrow and Gatwick. So like I've mentioned a couple of times so far, we have the coach and bus service that we're offering to you, and you can book your place and pay for your ticket to be picked up from London Heathrow on either Saturday the 9th or Sunday the 10th of September. And the 2 time slots that are available are either 10 o'clock in the morning or 6 p.m. at night. Now, I would try to plan your arrival when you have your visa and you are then looking to book your flight. Try and choose a time that kind of gets you in within a reasonable time of 10 a.m. or 6 p.m. You don't want to be cutting it too close. We will hang on a bit, maybe till 10:15 or 6:15 perhaps, but I wouldn't recommend booking your arrival into the UK, for example, for 8 a.m. with the intention for getting on the 10 a.m. coach, because your luggage might be held up. There might be a problem with with parking the aircraft. Sometimes it could be busy. There could have been delays in the previous flight. So you just want to give yourself probably 3 hours maybe before 10 a.m. or 6 p.m. Or thereabouts. So you might have a little bit of waiting time, but it really is the coach service on the Saturday the 10th or Saturday the 9th or Sunday the 10th is really the most straightforward way to get to Portsmouth. My colleagues and I will be there with signs above our heads and wearing university t-shirts and things like that. So you'll be able to find us and you'll be able to then get on our bus, fall asleep for 2 hours or however long it takes, and then we'll take you to your student accommodation. So super direct. Melissa, can I speak to you, please, about your experience? Because I know that you didn't use this service because your visa was a bit delayed, wasn't it?
Yes.
So you came a bit later on. Can you tell me about what you did, please, to get to Portsmouth?
Yes, so in that case, because of my visa that came late, so in that case, what we did, because it was not only me, I did book a ticket, was for the bus ticket, because I also was a little bit tired from the flights, and you can do that through an app. There's an app called Trainline that you can check the tickets from whatever you are and to whatever you want to go, and they have both options usually. The train tickets and the bus tickets. You will be able to see them in that app, and it's very helpful because you can either check the train line, and the trains are like going from the airport to near the university, because the university is pretty close to the Portsmouth South Sea station. So you can check the times and check the prices, and also for the buses. And if they don't have the buses over there, you can check. There's a very well-known company here called National Express. They have these coaches that they can just take you from the airport to the campus directly. So, of course, it will probably be a little bit, spend more hours in the coach, but in my case, I think it's worth it if you're tired and just want to sleep, because that's what I did. Yeah, and you can just put your luggages there and just relax and enjoy, or just take a long nap before you arrive to campus. So yeah, that's yeah,
Okay.
that's what I did.
Okay, Melissa, thank you for sharing that. But
No
if you do
worries.
decide to get the train, if you arrive into London Gatwick, you can get a direct train from London Gatwick to Portsmouth. It stops off at various stations, but it's a direct train service from Gatwick to Portsmouth and Southsea. That's the train station you need. From London Heathrow, you can still get a train as well, but you would have to get the London Underground, the tube service, from the airport into London Waterloo train station, and then from London Waterloo to Portsmouth and Southsea. So easy enough. Either route is easy enough, but Heathrow is just a little bit more complicated, especially if you have heavy luggage. Because some of the London Underground tube stations don't always have lifts or escalators. So you might have to carry your heavy luggage. So sometimes it might be easier, like Melissa recommends, getting the coach or the bus, or planning it so you get into the UK on the 9th or the 10th. Getting a taxi, of course, is always an option from either airport as well. You can maybe look at pre-booking a taxi for your arrival, and with your airline number, your aircraft number, the company that we use in Portsmouth called Aqua Cars, they will track your airline to make sure they know when you land, and they will come and meet you normally, or certainly text you or call you once they are at the airport, and they'll be able to tell you where to come and meet them at their car. That normally costs, I think, around 80 or 90 pounds, I think. Anna's nodding, I can see. Thank you, Anna. So yeah, 80 or 90 pounds. And I've actually, from London Gatwick before, got an Uber. And again, that was 80 or 90 pounds. And that arrived pretty quickly, actually. I ordered that when I landed, and it came pretty quickly. So that's an option. There's two options for you there. There is more detail on our website. Sorry about the strange noise in the background. I'll tell you something funny. My dog is sleeping and she's dreaming and I can really hear her. So I do apologize if that sounds really strange. I'm working from home today. I'm not in the office. But one key, very important thing, I'm quite embarrassed by that, apologies. Some very key important information is not to get a London taxi. And what we mean by that is like a black taxi or a typical British taxi, because that could cost you over £200. And that's just crazy money. You don't need to pay that much money. The cheapest option is, of course, the coach or the bus, the National Express, like Melissa mentioned, or getting the train as well, or a taxi with Aqua Cars or maybe Uber. But always check the price with Uber, because if you're not familiar with it in your country, I know some countries like Uzbekistan, I don't think, or Kazakhstan, I don't think you have Uber, for example. So you might not be familiar with that app on your phone. So if you download it when you get to the UK, before you book, just check the cost, how much they're going to charge you. Because what it could be one day could be very different to what it is another day. Just a heads up for information on that. Okay, some key top tips for you. We recommend not bringing a lot of cash with you. Melissa, can I ask you, please, just roughly, if you don't, it's quite a personal question, but if you don't mind sharing with the students to give them an idea, approximately how much cash, if any, did you bring with you?
For the first couple of weeks, 2 weeks and a half, I brought with me in cash around £200,
Okay.
which is not quite a lot, but it's good. I mean, it can get you through the two first weeks, at least the first 14 days. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. And that's just to buy some basic groceries, an emergency warm jumper, perhaps, or something like that. Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing that, Melissa.
No
We recommend that you pay your tuition fees and accommodation fees electronic, using your applicant view through your students' access onto our system. So do that in advance. So again, you don't have to bring cash to the UK to pay for that. As Melissa has mentioned, she bought about £200 for the first 2 weeks. So there's an indication there. But lots of students also bring their credit cards or traveller's checks. Traveller's checks are very old school now, like an old-fashioned thing, but still accepted and still useful, that you can exchange in banks and certain stores perhaps as well, and hotels maybe, or even the university perhaps as well. So that's an option for you, because we can help you set up a bank account, a British bank account here in Portsmouth. We can do that through the local banks here, but that can take about 2 weeks to set up. So until you have that set up and organised, You know, we recommend bringing a little bit of cash just to keep you going. Most students do, of course, use a debit card or their mobile payments, where you use your thumbprint or your identification to pay for things through debit cards or your mobile payments, card payments as well, eventually through your UK bank account in place of cash. Lots of places do still accept cash, but certain places actually might not accept cash. I rarely take cash these days, and I get caught out when a shop or somewhere say, sorry, our card machine has broken, we need you to use cash. I'm like, wow, where do I get that from? But obviously we have ATMs all over the place. But a final point here is, you know, we're recommending not to bring a lot of cash. And certainly, you know, it's a very rare example here, but cash worth more than 10,000 euros, including other currencies. So whether that's 5,000 euros and something else added to that. So in total, approximately 10,000 euros. If it's brought into the UK from outside the European Union, so you students who are tuned in today, this must be declared by customs. So you must be honest with that when taking it through customs on arrival to the UK. Okay, joining the University of Portsmouth. Some key things here. First thing first, ring home. Ring your mum, ring your dad, ring your sister, whoever it is that cares for you and loves you and misses and worries about you. Give them a call, because it's very easy to get caught up in the excitement, the nerves, moving into your new home and making friends. Melissa, how quickly did you ring your family in the Dominican Republic?
As soon as I got here, it was immediately, yeah, because in my experience, I came very late. So it was almost like evening that day.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I just immediately called everyone before getting anything else. Like I needed toilet paper, I needed towel, shower gel. But before getting all of that, I called my parents, friends, and everyone who was like worried about me, and they wanted to know if I arrived. So yeah, just make sure to do that.
Okay, that's good, because you'd be surprised, students that are watching, you know, you'd be surprised like how many calls the university gets actually from a parent saying, I think my son or daughter is with you in Portsmouth. Have they made it to the UK? Are they okay? You know, and then we have to find that student and contact them to say, ring home and tell your friends and family that you're okay. Thank you, Melissa. And then the next steps, when you arrive into Portsmouth, we will send you information about registering for your course as well. So we need to know as a university that you're here, you know, that you arrived and that you're ready to start your studies. And then we encourage you to attend the orientation and welcome events. These are various things that are taking place in the first couple of weeks of your arrival into the UK. We'll go into that in a bit more detail as well. But you also then need to look at collecting your BRP card, which is written on your visa letter. Perhaps that's not applicable to everybody, but some students that might be something that you need to think about. And if you haven't done so already, then look at paying your tuition fees as well. And then, of course, finally, one of the final things to think about is attending your department or course induction. That's really important to get your timetable, to meet your lecturers, maybe meet your personal tutor, maybe hopefully meet the rest of your fellow students on your course and your new friends, you know, that you're going to be studying with for the next year or few years, depending on your course. So the orientation, is this me, Anna, or are you covering this? This is me. Lovely, no problem, happy to cover. And I'll get Melissa involved in this as well. So stand by, Melissa. But like I've mentioned, the orientation and induction weeks are really the chance for you to settle in, to feel relaxed. You know, you've got your room set up. Like Melissa mentioned, you've got your shower gel and toilet paper in your room. You've got all those important things set up. But now it's time to settle into your city and make new friends. This is kind of your second family. You know, your own family is overseas and your friends are maybe overseas back in your home. But here in Portsmouth for the next few months, years, however long you're studying with us for, depending on the course, we really recommend, strongly, politely recommend that you get involved in these orientation fun activities. It's optional, but we really encourage you to get involved because it's a program of events to help you settle in and to meet new people. So these kind of activities that you can get involved in, which we'll email you about, some of them are free, some of them might just be a small cost to you, but lots of opportunities for campus tours. kind of important to know where you're studying and to know where the library is and the sports centre and all those kind of things. And also a city tour, so you know where the cheap supermarkets are, those international supermarkets we mentioned, so you know where they are, and other such things as well. Then we organise movie nights and social events. Now, a lot of these movie nights and social events that I went to last year as a member of staff to support, they involved a lot of free food. And so they were really great. So like the movie nights, for example, had free pizza. I didn't go to those. I'm going to try and go to those this year, Anna. So please make sure I can have some pizza. But I went to an afternoon of coffee and cake, and there was free coffee or tea and a slice of cake. And it was really lovely because I stood there and I was just serving the coffees and teas and chatting to students. But I was stood there and I watched people come in either in pairs because they'd already met their housemate or somebody like that, or they came in on their own, looking a little bit nervous, not knowing anybody. And then they sit. I watched people sit together. And within a few minutes, they were chatting away and having conversations. Where are you from? What course are you studying? All this kind of thing. And at the end, I had to ask them to leave because they were chatting so much that they lost track of time and the session had finished. And then I watched them exchange numbers and social media and all that kind of thing. So it was really lovely to see, actually. So we really encourage you to again keep an eye on your emails from Anna and the team who organise all of these social activities. And then there's things like welcome and introductory workshops as well, so a chance for you to get involved that way. Now, Melissa, you came to Portsmouth a little bit later, again, like we mentioned about your visa.
Yes.
Did you miss all of these activities?
Most of them, yes, but
Oh, okay, but you did attend some, did you?
yes, and they were like also in the halls. If you're staying in student accommodations, they do activities throughout the weeks. And they usually put like in the ground floor, they put a schedule for the month, and they have activities such as painting tote bags, going somewhere, maybe anywhere, like meeting around in the city, and yeah, just like playing games, like game nights, like that. So it's really nice. And sometimes they do those kind of stuff like in another student accommodation, so you can get to know the other student accommodation area and departments, and get to know more people as well. I mean, that's a chance to get to know other students who are probably doing the same course as you or in the same year. And yeah,
Cool. Okay. Now I know that you came to the UK with a few other students from the Dominican Republic. So have you stepped out of that social circle and made friends and from other courses or other nationalities? And if so, how did you do that? How did you get talking to people?
Yes, so I also got to know more people because of the friends that I met in my course. So most of my friends, they also get to know other people in other courses, and some others as well, because I'm doing a master's, they did their undergrad in the same university here at Portsmouth. So they got to know other people in other areas, and just by socials and clubs as well. I mean, there are many clubs like Korean clubs or dance club, and you can just get to know people through many clubs and activities here in the university. Yeah. And in my case, it was because of my course. Mostly, yeah.
Did your course organise some social activities as well as your accommodation? So did your course organise?
Yeah, so well, they have because there are different schools, so they also organize this thing of like different courses. For example, the pharmacy and biomedical school, along with the sports science school. So it's like all together they do this kind of stuff where it's like social night as well, where they just have people of 4 departments. They're like in the same area in the sense of, for example, science, but they just gather together and you can get to know people. So yeah, that's one of the options that anyone can have here. So there's no excuse to not know people around. Yeah.
No excuse. You've been politely told off by Melissa. Okay, that's really great. Thank you. Yeah, because as Melissa mentioned, we have over 150 different clubs and societies from different sports teams. Even if you're not super sporty and you don't want to compete, you can still train with them and keep fit and active through that and try something new, a chance to really try something new and different. That's something that you've not done before. And then there's if sport really isn't your thing, or you want to do something because in addition to that, there are different societies you can join, like I think Melissa mentioned the Korean Society, for example, or there are religious groups, or there's singing groups and acting and performance and cinema clubs and comedy clubs and all this kind of thing, different things that different social groups that you can get involved in, for sure. Okay, so moving on to the next slide about the student advice services. This is away from the social scene, really. Did I cover everything on that last slide? The full program, I knew I'd missed something, I'm sorry. The full program for orientation is on that link, but like I say, Anna and the team will email you all of those details and links to book. Sometimes you might have to book even if it is a free event, just so we know how much pizza to order. So do make sure you look on our website for that. Apologies that I missed that before. So moving on to this slide for student advice services. Lots of key information here of different support groups, support services that are here to make your life in Portsmouth that bit easier. Now, it might be a cultural thing maybe, or not what you're used to in terms of asking for help. You know, we speak to lots of international students and we say, why don't you go and speak to this or speak to them here or something like that? And some students are like, well, no, I need to work this out myself. When you're here in Portsmouth, you don't. You know, we have all these support services available. So I'll just touch on one or two of these. So the student wellbeing service, this is checking on your well-being to make sure that you're okay and that you are settled, that you are happy living in Portsmouth in your accommodation, and that you're feeling like a home away from home. We have the multi-faith chaplaincy as well. So a chance for you, whatever your religion, or even if you're not religious, but you want to meet people who are and learn from their experiences and socialize with them, you can go along to the chaplaincy there. You then, of course, have your own personal tutors as part of your course. We have lots of student finance support available. So any money worries you're having, and there's no shame in asking for help and support there. You know, again, lots of students, money is a private discussion. A financial thing is sometimes a private discussion. It certainly was in my household when I was growing up with my family. But actually, sometimes when you go to university and you're managing your money for the first time, that can be a bit overwhelming, and it's quite a big, important thing. So if you feel a bit lost and confused, or you're struggling, or you've made an error with your finances, don't panic. Don't think the worst. Come and speak to the student finance support team. We then have an amazing careers support and guidance team. They are there to help you throughout your studies. No matter how long you're here for, Portsmouth, the university is here for you. So when you finish your studies here with us at the university, the careers support and guidance service is available for you to use for 5 years after your study, which is an amazing service, you know, so to come back to. But go and see them at the start of your studies and say, right, this is my idea, how I want to use my qualification in the future. Can you advise me? Can you help me? Or you might not have any idea exactly what you want to do yet for when you have graduated, and that's okay as well. Go and speak to the career support and guidance team, and they can give you the support and guidance to help you have an idea for your future. Then we have the Maths Cafe for any students that are struggling with numbers as part of their course. I know some of Melissa's friends, I think, have used this. They're doing the MSc of Logistics and Supply Chain Management, which does actually include a little bit of maths. So they have used the Maths Cafe. We then had the LinkedIn learning service that students can use. So there's lots of resources through LinkedIn. If you connect yourself with the university through your LinkedIn profile, we recommend taking advantage of those free services as well. You need to meet a certain English level here to get to the university, and I'm sure that a lot of you already have done, which is why you're on this call and in this webinar now, because you've met those requirements. But maybe it's just a final thing that some of you are just finishing off now. But if you feel like you want to improve your English language further and your academic speak as well in the English language, then you can come along to the in-sessional English program whilst you're studying here. And then we have within the faculty, within your key subject departments, and we have the faculty hubs and the faculty engagement officers, and they're there subject specifically to help you and advise you as well. Melissa, can you talk about any, maybe 1 or 2 examples from this list that you or somebody you know have used and how they found that service?
Yes, so out of these services, I personally use the one for academic skill support for my writing. So I submitted some of my essays to just have a check, have a feedback and another opinion about my reasoning, my writing skills. So that was very helpful. And also for the career and support guidance, that I went there like 3 times throughout my course. And it's been great because they gave me feedback on my CV, which was really, really helpful. Yeah.
Good.
And I have a friend that also used the student well-being service, and she's really funny. She told me great anecdotes about how was her experience with that. So I believe that, and that's one of the things that I didn't know we have this service in the university. It was because of her. So that's really good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, thank you for sharing those examples. That's really good to hear how students are experiencing life at the university. That's perfect. Okay, Anna, would you like to jump in on this one for the graduate immigration route?
Yeah, thank you, Ruth. So the graduate immigration route is something that you may have heard of. It's an option for you if you meet all the requirements to apply to remain in the UK once you've completed your course. So it may be something that you're thinking about now. It's not something that you're able to do now. You have to complete your course and become eligible for it. But we mention it because it's important to be prepared if you are thinking of applying for it. So I want to talk a little bit about it now, just so you have an awareness of it. So there's some eligibility requirements for this visa category. The first one is that you need to be physically in the UK to apply for the visa. You also need to hold a valid student route visa. So you still need to have your student route visa for your course that you've been studying, and you need to have successfully completed the course that you were studying. So you need to have completed the course, handed all your work in. All your work will have gone to the examining board, and the examining board have awarded you. So that's the criteria that you need to meet to be eligible for it. What's really important is if you do not complete your course, if you're not awarded, or you don't complete your course within your original course dates as stated on your CAS statement, you may not be eligible for the graduate immigration route. So if you don't complete your course at all, you definitely won't be eligible, because that's one of the eligibility criteria. And if you don't complete within the original course dates, like I said, that's stated on your CAS statement, it may be that you would not be eligible. So if you are concerned about this, if you get halfway through the year and you're worried that maybe you're going to have to repeat or resit, if you failed some of your modules, or you're not sure if you're going to finish on time, please come and speak to us in the global office so that we can advise you further if you are thinking of applying eventually for the graduate immigration route. This information is more relevant, what I'm going to talk about next, for students who may have been studying in the UK during COVID, but it's still relevant for students coming now. So if you're on a course that is 12 months or less, you need to have studied that whole entire course in the UK. If it's a course that's 12 months or more, you need to have studied at least 12 months of the course in the UK. We direct students to have a look at UKISA. So UKISA is the UK Council for International Student Affairs. They're a fantastic national body in the UK that support and help international students when they come to study here. And they provide lots of advice and information that supplements the advice and guidance that we provide to students. And they've got an excellent webpage on the graduate immigration route. So you can go online, go to UKISA and have a look at that. And really it's just to sort of get that information in your minds, so that if you are thinking of eventually applying for the GIR graduate immigration route when you complete your course, you have an awareness of it now.
Okay. Well, we've come to the end for now of the presentation, but now we're going to open up to the questions that might be coming through. So hopefully we'll have some of those. But just before I close down this presentation, so I can look at the questions, just a note for our email address, if you'd like to make a note of that. So global@port.ac.uk, and then that contact telephone number as well. Okay. In that case, here we are. Thank you very much for all those that are still listening and have tuned in. If you do have any questions, I can see one or two in the Q&A section here that have been sent through to us, some privately, some yeah, look like private questions. But if you do have any questions for anything we've said, then please do drop us an email. But the first question is more, a couple I can see are more for Melissa, really. Melissa, why did you, can you tell us why you chose Portsmouth? You had different options, I guess, being in the Dominican Republic, but this student would like to know why you personally, why you chose Portsmouth.
Yes, hello. Thank you for the question. So I'm here. I came here because it was also advertised by the government in my country, and the program on the programs for. I mean, I'm on the different universities with the program that I was interested in. Portsmouth, I really like the curriculum they offer for medical biotechnology because I did my bachelor's in biomedicine, and everything was more like into research and it was theoretical. I saw a lot of theory, and there were techniques that were covered in this program that the University of Portsmouth is offering. So I was very interested in those skills. That's why I was like, okay, I'm going after this program. So that's why I chose it, and also because the city is well located. So my personal preference, but I really like the coast. So I believe that any student who comes to Portsmouth is gonna love it. So yeah, those two reasons are the
Okay.
reasons why I chose Portsmouth. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I won't ask you how the coast of the UK compares to the coast of the Dominican Republic, especially when it comes to the weather. And we won't discuss that because the weather is okay here. It's not that bad here.
It's not
Even
bad.
though Melissa, I don't think it's too bad, but some of Melissa's friends, I'm walking around in a t-shirt and a top like this. Some of Melissa's friends still have their winter coats on because the temperature in the UK is classed as the winter in the Dominican Republic. So
Yeah, it's still chilly. It's still chilly. Not that hot, but it's still fine. It's good.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, good stuff. Thank you. Okay, and another question here is about student accommodation. Melissa, can you share a little bit of detail? This student would like to know how many people live in your apartments, and do you have an ensuite bathroom in where you live?
Yes, so I cannot really talk about other student accommodations, but the one that I personally am staying, it's called Harry Law, and that one has an ensuite bathroom, which is great because if you are a person who would like just to have a bathroom for yourself, it's perfect. It's not that big, but it does the job and it's really good. And also because we have different, I mean, so you live in different rooms, so you don't share the room with anyone. So it's an ensuite bathroom with your room, your bed, and your wardrobe or cupboard, and then you share the kitchen. So usually the kitchens are shared between among 5 to 6 people, and you may be lucky and maybe just 4 or 3. So it depends. But yeah, it's usually like that. You have your own room with an ensuite bathroom. That's for Harry Law, and you have a kitchen, a shared kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. Just to add to that, our accommodation really does vary in price. Some which are the higher end of the scale and some which are lower end. Majority of our student accommodation is what we call self-catering. So where you buy your own groceries and cook for yourself at the time that suits you, maybe cook together with your flatmates. But we do have, I think, 2 halls of residence accommodation where they are catered for. So your breakfast and your evening meal is catered for. That is, of course, then a little bit more money. And it's quite restricted really in terms of when you can eat, because their food is served at a certain time. So that's just something to consider there really with that. But Melissa's is self-catered, so her and her friends can buy their own groceries and cook when they like. Okay. I can't see any other questions that have come through. Melissa, is there anything else that you would like to add? Any examples of experiences that you think would be really useful to the students that are listening today?
Yes, so if you go for student accommodations, you can also have the option, I mean, the opportunity to get to know people in your kitchen, because you will get to know, probably you're gonna be paired probably with people from other parts of the world, and it's really enriching experience, because if you're cooking, if you like food, you can try everyone else's,
Okay.
cuisine, yeah, like their country's cuisine. So that's one thing that I can say about that.
Nice.
Yeah, and Portsmouth is a really student-friendly city. I believe that you will love it. You all will love it, because especially in summer, it's really nice. It's amazing. And yeah, you're gonna love it. I'm pretty sure it's really nice. Yeah.
Oh, good. Thank you, Melissa. That's some good words there. I didn't ask her to say that either. That's completely off her off her own back that she's doing that. And Anna, anything from you that you would like to add at all?
I think for me, it's just it's really important that you see the orientation week as something. It's not compulsory. You don't have to come to it, but we really do strongly recommend that you do try to get here so that you can attend even some of it, even a little bit of it, because we do see that students who do attend orientation, they find it much easier to settle in. I think to the university. There's so much going on during orientation week that really helps you to make friends. To get to know the university, to find your way around Portsmouth, even little things like getting a bank account opened and finding where the library is and registering for the gym, that kind of thing. It actually really makes a difference because when university starts, like when your classes start, it can be really, really busy and there's so much going on. So, in order to be kind to yourself, give yourself that time to come to orientation and enjoy the program, make new friends and get to know Portsmouth. Yeah, otherwise, looking forward to welcoming everyone to Portsmouth in September.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, well, thank you. And just to reiterate what Anna says, absolutely, we can't wait to welcome you to the UK and to the University of Portsmouth. It's always a very exciting time of year because we get to meet you. We get to meet the students that have applied to us, and we've helped you with visa queries before now or application queries, and we get to meet you in person, which is wonderful. It's a real blessing to do. It's a real perk to our job, actually, to meet you all and welcome you to the UK. So you have that email address. So any questions that you have that you thought of, or you're watching this on recording maybe, and you would like to ask a question, then please do email us. Good luck with everything and safe travels to the UK when you get here. And we look forward to seeing you in September. Oh, one moment. Just as I was about to finish, there's one question that's come through. Thank you for that question. That's great. It's perfect. Thank you for the webinar. You're very welcome. You would like to ask about the bank account. When exactly are we required to open a UK bank account? There's no restriction on that, really. There's no restriction as such. We will help you to set up your bank account in the first few weeks of term. And that can take 2 weeks approximately to get finalized for that process to happen. But it depends on you really and what you need. It is recommended that you have a UK bank account. It just makes things easier for you and UK organisations, especially if you want to get a part-time job. Lots of students work part-time, and international students can work part-time as well. You can work to up to 20 hours per week in a part-time role, and that could be working on campus somewhere within our facilities, like the library maybe, or the gym, maybe get a job there, or you're working in the local supermarket or the cinema or a bar or restaurant waiting tables, something simple like that, just to earn some extra money. And that's when the UK bank account is needed, because I don't think you'd be able to even have a job without a UK bank account, because they're not going to pay you cash. They will pay you directly into your bank. Anna's nodding, so I must be saying the right thing. Thank you, Anna, for that reassurance. So take advantage of the orientation week when we are helping you to set up that bank account, and then it's done. It's sorted. Like Anna says, things get really busy. So do it in orientation whilst you have the support of us to help you do that. Any other questions before I finish the call? No? I don't think so. Okay, well, thank you again. Safe travels, safe journey to the UK. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Melissa, for your support today. It's been a great session, and we'll see you all soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.